Hey everyone, this is Renee Frey from Talent Q, and you're listening to the Conscious Professional Podcast. More people than ever want to be happy in their career and personal life, but they're going about it all wrong. I'm here to set the record straight and emphasize the importance of prioritizing your mindset. I am thrilled you're here. In today's episode, I'm going to dig into affirmations. Do affirmations really work? Are they effective? What the heck is an affirmation, you might be wondering? How do you use them? And if you're not using affirmations, how do you start and begin to? I'll be sharing all the things with you. Personally, I love affirmations. I'm sure you've probably heard me call myself an ultimate optimist, always seeing the positive side of any situation, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I always see the glass as half full. I give people compliments freely, all the time and often. I always see the positive side in people too. And part of this ability comes from doing affirmations, which I'll get into in this episode. This week, my mom celebrated her 75th birthday. I was so thrilled for her. And as I was reflecting on what to write in her birthday message, I took a journey back into my past, going way back to when I was a little girl, back into my childhood. I had a very traumatic childhood. My parents were never married. My dad was an alcoholic and didn't pay much attention to me. Throughout my whole childhood, the one constant was my mom. If you've been listening to me for a while, you might know that my mom is deaf. I've shared this many times in the past because it's super relevant and helped me become who I am today. And you might be wondering if I know American Sign Language. Yes, I know ASL. Yes, I do. When I was growing up, I never thought the fact that she couldn't hear was a disability because she never wanted to be labeled in that way. She always wanted to be treated normal, just like everyone else. She made this apparent all the time. As I was looking through some old photos of me and my mom together, I came across one of my favorite ones. It was a family photo that was taken in 1985. Of course, my dad isn't in the picture. I'm 8.5 years old wearing an Esprit shirt. That was my favorite brand back then because my mom was super hip and she loved to shop and she was trendy. So I learned about all the best brands as a kid because she took us shopping all the time. And I actually think she took us shopping on the weekends to get away from my dad, but whatever, that's a different story. In this photo, my hair looked terrible. Almost mullet-esque. I actually think I kind of look like a boy, and I have this awful stain on the front of my shirt. It is on the center of my shirt, which is totally visible in the photo. It is hilarious. At least I have a big-ass smile on my face, though. In this photo, my mom looks so beautiful. She has the most vibrant smile. When I think back to my childhood, this is how I remember her. Just like how she looked in this photo, beautiful and vibrant. She was my idol growing up. You see, my mom has what I call the it factor. She's extremely kind, very curious about people, makes everyone she meets feel special. There is something about her that everyone who meets her simply adores her. She hands out compliments to others freely too, and that might be where I picked that up from. Growing up, she would always compliment me on something every single day. She would say, "You look nice today. I like your hair. I like your shirt. I like your lipstick color." It was super small compliments. It was always compliments on my appearance, which nowadays people say, you shouldn't compliment people on their appearance, blah, blah, blah. I call bullshit on that. Any compliment is a wonderful compliment. That's what I feel in my mind. I totally disagree that we shouldn't compliment people on their appearances. I think giving people compliments is like saying to them, I see you, you matter. That's why I think any compliment is a good thing. The compliments my mom gave me as a child have continued throughout my whole life. She still compliments me to this day. I actually think all the compliments that my mom gave me helped me develop into an extremely confident person. I've always had confidence and been confident in myself. When I was little, I knew I was different from others because the girls I hung around, a lot of them were quieter, shy, stayed small. Whereas I've been loud and bold and speaking my mind and unapologetic about who I am. I've been this way my whole life. I don't ever remember having an issue with feeling confident. With my confidence, I always thought, this is who I am. And I'm not changing who I am for anyone. I love myself unconditionally. I got this from my mom. When I wrote her birthday message, part of the message said, "Thank you for teaching me what unconditional love is." My mom truly loves people for who they are. She is open and accepting of everyone. All of our differences, accepting all of it. And that's how I was raised. To love all people exactly for who they are. This makes me get emotional just thinking about it because what an incredible fucking gift she gave me. For my mom to have taught me this is such an incredible gift. Through her actions that I witnessed in the most informative years of my life, that all people are equal and all people matter. And if they are different from me in appearance or beliefs or have a disability, none of that matters. We are all equal. My mom taught me to love all people unconditionally. The funny thing is, growing up, I had friends all across the different cliques in school. I had preppy friends, nerdy friends, stoner friends, whatever the groups were back then, I can't even remember. But I accepted and loved people for who they were. Several years ago, I was at a friend's baby shower, and one of my high school friends, Leah, says, "Renee, I remember growing up, you always attracted the weirdos. You had friends across all the groups." And you know what I said back? I said, because I love people for who they are. I think of it as a strength. I even have this feeling with complete strangers. I am always open and accepting of others, which is probably why complete strangers feel comfortable talking with me. I'm sure they can sense it in my energy, which I love it. When I'm able to strike up a conversation with a complete stranger, that's a blast. And the crazy part about it is, in my career now, I interview and coach people all day long. Which to do this, you have to be very open and accepting of all people's different backgrounds and help them feel comfortable sharing things with you. How cool. I absolutely love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. Okay, now I want to go back to affirmations. My top love language, if you've read the book by Gary Chapman, the title is 5 Love Languages. The book is awesome. I highly recommend it. It's a great, quick read, very insightful. He gives you a quiz in it so you can identify your top love languages, which is totally awesome because the author doesn't leave you hanging. We even have the kids edition of the book at our house, and the author took it one step further, took the same concepts from his love languages book and made it applicable to the workplace too. And that book is titled The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. I'll link all 3 of these books in the description for you in the show notes to make it easy for you to find them. My team and I have read the 5 languages of appreciation at work, and I led them through an exercise as a team. And it was pretty eye-opening. So previous to reading the book, one time I asked my assistant, I said, "Do you think we should do a happy hour as a team?" Now, she had 2 little kids at the time, and of course, I have kids, so she was very similar to me. We were the type who showed up to work in the office. We kicked ass, got all of our to-dos done, got all of our work done, and then wanted to go home and spend time with our families. Well, little did I know after reading this book, with my team, there were 2 employees of mine whose top language in the workplace was quality time. Oh, shit. What that means is they would have loved to go to a team happy hour. Whoops, my fault. That's why you don't just ask one person on your team for their opinion. My mistake, and I've totally learned from it. This book was incredible in helping my team connect with one another in a more deeper and compassionate way. We understood what was important to all of us. It was so cool. We even had a colored grid where our names were mapped out so we could easily see which language everyone was, so we kept those at our desks. So if you lead a team, I highly recommend doing this and going through an activity together. I actually have helped leaders facilitate this in their organizations, and it has been so incredibly effective for them, just like it was for me and my team. If you're curious how this would work and want to learn more about what this would look like for your team, I'll leave my calendar link below so you can schedule some time with me. I truly believe in engaging activities like this with your team. Back to my top love language. Dun, dun, dun. My top love language is words of affirmation. Shocking, right? I know. It's not shocking to you. What this means for those of you who may not have read the book yet is when people give me a compliment or they give me kudos for a job well done or they share their appreciation for me verbally, that is what makes me feel most loved in the world. I love words of affirmation. Through this book, I learned that your top love language is also what you give out and how you show people you love them. So I give compliments to people all day long, to people I know and to complete strangers. And as a matter of fact, to everybody. It's just part of my DNA. This is the core of who I am. This is really how I feel the most loved, and how I give love is 100% words of affirmation. And what I mean when I say affirmation, it's a powerful sentence made up of positive words designed to engage your conscious and subconscious minds. Its purpose is to change the negative self-talk you have going on up in your head into positive statements to motivate, challenge, and drive you to reach your full potential in life. Decades ago, when I dove deep into the deep end of personal development and mindset, the first thing I learned about was negative self-talk. First thing I learned was to write down all of my negative thoughts, which I got to caution you, if you start doing this, it's really fucking eye-opening how shitty we talk to ourselves. It is awful. So I learned how to write down all of my negative thoughts, and then I learned how to reframe them to positive statements. Simple enough, but very eye-opening. Like I said, I caution you. I believe doing this really helped me decrease the frequency of negative self-talk. In the beginning, when I learned how to do this and actually take action on it, it was exhausting. It was exhausting because I had loads of negative self-talk going on up in my head. And it's kind of heartbreaking. But if you do the work like I did, it will help. Today, I rarely have a negative thought come across in my mind. It's very rare. I also attribute learning how to meditate and meditating every single day to the ability to continue to live mostly negative self-talk free. So as I mentioned, affirmations are powerful sentences made up of positive words. I've shared in the past how words are incredibly powerful. The words we think, speak, and use are extremely powerful. Just like thoughts are energy, words are energy too. Affirmations aren't just sentences on a piece of paper. They can actually come alive in your life if you read them and speak them out loud daily. And if you do it over time, all the time, every day. Over time, you'll actually start believing them. It sounds way too easy, right? I'm all about simplicity in every area of my life. Research shows that positive thinking through affirmations can actually rewire your brain and change the way you feel about things. It's a total coping mechanism to help you with negative thoughts. Affirmations are like a quick self-help method you can use to build self-confidence in your life and have you start believing what you're saying and telling yourself. I'm going to share a story with all of you about affirmations and my daughter, Elena. So at my house, I'm all about growth mindset, living the most fulfilling life imaginable, being a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. That's my philosophy. And through all the knowledge I've accumulated, I implemented a great experiment in my household. When we are kids, up until the age of 7, we're taking in everything as truth. This is a survival mechanism. We take everything in our parents said, our caregivers said, adults around us as truth. And once we age, we get older, years later, we realize some of the beliefs that were implanted in our minds as children are total bullshit. These beliefs are beliefs someone else held, and they simply aren't fucking true. So then we have to rewind and reframe to abolish those BS beliefs and establish the beliefs we want to have as grown adults. Knowing this, when my daughters were little, I'm talking like when they were 3 years old, when I would put them to bed at night, I started saying affirmations to them and having them repeat back to me those same affirmations. Well, my oldest daughter, who's very spirited, totally rejected this and didn't want to do it. Okay, fine. I couldn't force her to do it. My youngest, on the other hand, she loved it and she was totally open to doing it. Here's the great experiment. One daughter, 0 affirmations at night. The other daughter saying affirmations nightly. What I would do is right before I would tuck my daughter in her bed and say, I love you, see you in the morning, I would say specific statements to her out loud. And I would have her repeat them back to me out loud. Then I'd tuck her blankets in and leave the room. The statements I said to her were, you are brave. You are smart. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are the only Elena Joy Frey in this world, and I love you just the way you are. And she would repeat them back to me, changing them to I statements. So it would go something like this. I'd say, you are brave. She'd say, I am brave. I'd say, you are smart. She'd say, I am smart. I'd say, you are beautiful. She'd say, I am beautiful. I'd say, you are loved. She'd say, I am loved. I'd say, you're the only Elena Joy Frey in this world, and I love you just the way you are. And she would repeat, I am the only Elena Joy Frey in this world, and I love myself just the way I am. Then I'd tuck her in, tell her I love her, see you in the morning, turn off the lights, and leave the room. She is much, much older now, and she's still doing this on her own because I don't tuck her into bed anymore, but she still does this. We put the kids in a summer program one year to keep them busy while my husband and I were working during the day. I'd drop them off in the morning on my way to the office. The first day I dropped them off, I will never forget this. Aubrey, my spirited one, jumps right out of the car. She was ready to go have fun and meet new friends. Good for her. Elena, on the other hand, is really hesitating. She's not leaving the car. So I walk to the back of the SUV and open the door next to where she's sitting. She's saying, I don't want to go, Mommy. And you can tell she's nervous and she's anxious. I said, come on, honey, you got to go. And then I see her. She puts her backpack on and says confidently, I am brave. And she gets out of the car. I was like, holy shit, these affirmations work. I am freaking ecstatic. I was like, yeah. I have seen her do this in so many other situations too. So it really works. And the affirmations have helped her. I'll walk you through how I use affirmations. I'm all about habit stacking, doing habits in a specific order to keep myself doing them consistently. And I have a $1 million morning routine. That's what I call it. And I shared how to create a $1 million morning routine in a previous episode. So I encourage you to go back and listen to that one after you finish this episode. What I mean by habit stacking, every morning I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I put my gym clothes on, I brush my teeth, I have some collagen, I grab a cup of coffee, and then I sit in the car in the garage waiting for my husband, and I read my daily affirmations out loud. I keep my affirmations on a notepad on my cell phone so they're readily and easily available. Then, when we get back home from the gym, I make a protein shake, I meditate, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, I do some journaling, and then I jump into the shower and get ready for the day. When I arrive to my office, I have another set of affirmations that I read through just before I start my workday. And then when I go to bed at night, I do a little journaling. I then visualize the next day. I visualize what I want my next day to look like, what I'd like to have happen, and I visualize it, see it in my mind, walking myself through the next day. Then I say my nightly affirmations out loud. I turn on a meditation and I go to bed. In my life, I'm using affirmations 3 times a day religiously. I've built up to this throughout my life. When I first started using affirmations, I was only doing it once a day. Now that I'm much more aware of my beliefs and my thoughts and what I need, I've incorporated this into my life because this is what works for me. What I've noticed is these affirmations that I'm saying now are memorized in my brain. They are so grooved into my subconscious mind, I notice myself thinking them throughout the day, even when I'm not looking at them. I've worked and practiced consistently for years to abolish my negative self-talk, and I've been so successful in doing so. It is so rare if I have negative self-talk that pops up. I say this all the time. If all of you could listen to my thoughts, you'd be like, oh man, isn't she an arrogant MFer? Perfect. That's what I want. I want to boost myself up. I want to think highly of myself because guess what? No one will ever know what I'm thinking. I'm constantly having positive thoughts about myself. And you know what I believe? I believe this has led me to have the most extraordinary life. I abso-fucking-lutely love my life. When you love yourself unconditionally, you're able to have that same type of love for others. I'm not going to lie. I believe I'm the most important person in my life. You may be thinking, what about your kids, Renee? Yeah, what about my kids? If I'm not the most important person to me in my life, then why am I here? I have to take care of myself first so I can take care of others. I have to love myself first so I can give love to others. I have to trust myself first so I can trust in others. I have to be happy first so I can spread happiness to the world. I'm not here to beat myself up with negative self-talk and talk down to myself and feel like shit all day. Where does that fucking get me? Nowhere. I used to have negative self-talk that was so gross. If you heard it, it would make you cry. It would break your heart if you heard what I used to tell myself. Why do we do this to ourselves? Our time here on this planet is so fucking short. Let's make it the best, most incredible we can, the most happy, fulfilled, vibrant, incredible time we can. If you'd like to get started with some affirmations to benefit you in your life and need some guidance, I can help you with that right now. You can start just how I did with myself and my daughter Elena. Start by saying affirmations before you go to bed. Here are the ones we say to ourselves. I am smart. I am brave. I am beautiful. You can change that to handsome if you'd like. I am loved, and I am the only Renee Joy Frey in this world, and I love myself just the way that I am. This is a simple way to get started. Write these down. Keep them on a piece of paper in your nightstand. Set an alarm on your phone for 5 minutes before your bedtime to remind yourself to read through your affirmations and see what happens in your life. So the key points from today's episode are: you don't have to use complex affirmations in your life to start seeing the impact. Putting yourself first means using affirmations to get rid of your negative self-talk. Being aware of your love language allows you to better show yourself and those around you compassion. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Please share this episode with someone you love and go make one change to be better than you were yesterday. Live your life with intention. I believe in you. I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible. So if you would, please hit the follow button so we can grow our community of conscious professionals. Whether you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can find the button at the top of the page. See you next week. Cheers. Hey everyone, Renee here again. I'm popping on to share one last thing with all of you. If you didn't know already, the waitlist for my brand new program called Focus has been open for a couple of weeks now. And it already brings me so much joy that I see you guys taking action and hopping on the wait list. If you haven't heard me talk about it enough already, finding a new job sucks. And it's a really long process that most people let drag on and on because they just don't know the right way to go about it. They're throwing their resume at every job they see online, but they're not getting any results. No interviews, no job offers, nothing. So instead of wasting time because you're unsure of where to start your job search, let this program be a proven guide to direct you exactly where you need to be. I've been on the other side, and I know exactly what it takes to get you hired at a company. So what are you waiting for? Hop on that wait list. Grab the link in the show notes of this episode.